guys, Cam back here at the battling workshop, or the battler workshop. I'm just doing some editing for the next video I'm going to put up, which is the engraving on this little knob. We're just finishing that off now. I wanted to do a little bit of a chat, a fireside chat on YouTube and YouTube channels and what it does and what it benefits. My father always used to talk about in the model engineering world, the loaners, and these are blokes that work in their workshops on their own. They don't have contact with model engineering groups or any other type of machining group, and they just work on their own. And there's various reasons why they don't feel comfortable getting into a group. They might feel like they're not worthy of it. They might feel anxious. Some people are depressed. But this YouTube show allows people to come into our workshops, into our home, feel comfortable, watch what we're doing, and make comments if they want to become involved. If they don't want to make comments, that's great too. But it allows people to come in and feel like they've got a sense of place and feel comfortable, and maybe down the track learning a little bit of the techniques that we use and building up their own confidence. Maybe they might venture out and start touching bases and making contact with groups outside of their own workshop. I'm very lucky. I've got an extremely supportive family. As I said, in the past I've got 4 kids. My eldest Chris is 30 and Matt's 28 and Michael's 24, and we've got little Dan 12, and I've got a beautiful wife who's so supportive of me. We've got a larger family network, which is fantastic, and I've got a good group of mates. So you know, I feel supported in all sorts of aspects of my life. But as I said, there's a lot of people that don't feel that way, and they feel isolated and they feel alone. So for me, you know, this YouTube show is absolutely fantastic. And as I said, you get the opportunity to comment. You know, comments can get a little bit robust at times, and that's just the nature of how things are and humans are. You know, we get a little bit protective about what we do and maybe how we do it. But all in all, it's an environment where people should feel comfortable to come into our homes. There's a lot of the smaller little YouTube channels like myself, and I'll just give a click up here because I don't want to. I'll miss some anyway. But we've got Emma in Emma's Spare Room, fantastic little channel. We've got Chirpy with Chirpy's Tinkerings. Love what Chirpy does. The way he goes about what he does is fantastic. You know, we've got JB from Oz. We've got Cliffy Shed over there in the UK. He's a bit of a character. We've got Bundy Bear Shed with Lance up in Queensland. Lots and lots of them. We've got Dan Dobbs from the House of Broken Dobbins Things. You know, we've got Stephen Lang. Now Stephen Lang has been around a while, and he's trying to crack up to 1,000 subscribers. That's a goal that he's got, and we'd all love to see him get it. So I'm going to leave a link down the bottom onto Steve's YouTube channel. So if you get a chance, if you don't already subscribe to Steve, pop over and have a look at what he has to offer. Lovely bloke, and really grassroots type home machine that he does, and yeah, love it. We've got Tommy Gunn, now, and very smart man from what I can certainly see, a lot smarter than I am. So get over and see what Tommy's doing. He's doing that gearbox arrangement for the back end of a lathe. Lots and lots of them, lots and lots of us. And then obviously there's the big channels like the A-Bombs, the Steve Summers, which is going. You've got Stefan Gottswinzer, fantastic. Robert Ranzetti, absolutely brilliant. Love watching what he does and how he goes about it. Double Boost, Clickspring. You can sit and watch that guy for hours and hours and hours and hours. So look, there's so many of the big big YouTube channels as well. But one thing us little guys like, you know, I'm absolutely flabbergasted at how much time it actually takes to actually do the videoing, get in here, do the editing. I might just be slow, but there's a lot of effort that goes into it. And if you're ever on the channels and you like what you see, just give it a bit of a thumbs up. It gives us a little bit of a spurt on that somebody's actually watching and maybe appreciating or liking what we do. And if you feel inclined, bang in a comment and let us know what you think. Maybe add to the conversation of what we're doing. Ask questions if you're unsure. You know, we're always open for that. So I certainly enjoy looking in on the people that I subscribe to, and I certainly give the thumbs up, and always like to leave a little comment about what I've taken away from their video. So if you get the opportunity to do that, you know, go for it. If you're so inclined to go a little bit further and want to subscribe, you know, subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't get lavished with junk email over it. It's just a little click you do, and if you want to keep up with what's going on, just subscribe to their channels, particularly the smaller ones. It's you know, everyone has something to offer. I think a lot of the smaller ones that are hidden gems. There's a lot of great stuff in there. So you know, just click on, subscribe to them, and enjoy what they're giving you. All right, as I said, we're going to move on to the indexing on this. I tried to fit it onto the video that was just completed, which was cutting the notches out, but it was just going to get too long, so I'll split it up into two. So we'll go through the trials and tribulations of putting these index lines in. It's come up really, really well, and I'm really happy with it. But have a look at what we go through, and yeah, like or subscribe, or give us a thumbs up. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Cheers, and see you soon. Alright, we've completed the setup on this, and we've got it all pretty well set up. I've just had to do a little tiny adjustment. It would have been maybe 0.05 of a mil to get this centralised up, but it was only just to loosen off and a little tap. But if we run this around, we've got virtually no movement on the needle. So I know that this job here is now dead concentric to the table. So when I do lift this up at 90 degrees to start looking at this engraving work, as I rotate that table around, I know that I'm not going to end up cutting deeper on some of them, on some of those index lines, than on others. I know that I'm going to be pretty well spot on with that. So I'm really happy with that, and as I said, just a few little simple jigs to get you within a bull's roar of what you need, and then you can finish off with a little test indicator like this one here, just to get the final concentricity right. So that setup's all done. We'll, as I said, we'll get this rotated up at 90 degrees and get it squared up to the table, and we'll start setting up with our little D-bit cutter to see if we can cut some index lines in. Alright, back soon. Alright guys, we're back again. I'm going to do this setup a little bit differently, or this pre-test a little bit differently. I'm going to do them in the top of the knob. That means I can take it out once I'm happy with my 50 divisions and everything looks even. I'm happy with my depth, and I've recorded what that's going to be. I can quickly take that out, do the machining that I need to do in this top end and get that finished off, put it back in the chuck again, get it re-zeroed up again. Then I can flip it up 90 degrees. We can start doing the scratch lines, index lines around it. So before, we ensured that our chuck was exactly concentric to our rotary table's axis. Now that I want to do these in the top and do them as a trial, I need to make sure that the axis is in line with the spindle of the mill. So I've just sort of bumped that around a little bit. I've got that, and it's hard to see, but I do have that 0, 0 all the way around there now. So I'm going to set up with the engraving bit, and it's going to be a bit of a pain to set this up because I need to make sure that my engraving bit head is going to clear that jaw. So I've got a bit of a distance between that surface and back to here, so there's going to be a bit of an overhang in that bit, and the issue with that is you exacerbate any run out. The other thing is too that I can't use my standard ER32 collets because they're too big. I've had to put an ER20 collet in, so I've put an ER20 collet into an ER32 bit, and then I've got my engraving tool sticking out a little bit further again. I want to see how that goes rather than slotting it in, as I said. I think it's going to give a little bit of a better finish. I'm not going to end up with burrs on it or raised edges on it. It'll mill it away. That's quite flat where I've actually done a little pre-test on that. But we'll set up with the engraving bit, and we'll do our 50 divisions across the top here, and we'll see how that looks. Alright guys, I've got the little D bit in that we're going to use for the engraving. You can see how I've had to put an ER20 inside the ER32 to extend it down so that I can get into where I need to engrave when I flip this up 90 degrees. So I want to clear that chuck jaw obviously and come clear of that when I'm running down. So what I've done is first thing is when I've put this in, I've tapped the nut. That was a technique I got off YouTube many years ago. You can tap that nut, that spring ring in there, and actually very lightly adjust that around. So that's what I've done. I've got this within about 0.05, I reckon. Got that within 0.05, the spindle. Then I've come down and done the same thing with the D bit, and that's running out because it's got a slight woof in it. It's about 0.1. When I first put this in, it was running out by 0.6 of a mil, so we're 1/6 better. And even when it was 0.6 of a mil out, I did cut a reasonable line through there. So I'm going to leave it at that. You know, we've got a fair old stack up there where we're going to get things out. So 0.1 of a mil, what I'm our 4th hour, so I'm going to leave it at that. So we've set up our chuck concentric to our rotary table, and we've set up our nut diameter here central to the spindle. So I'll get all our datums, or I'll get our tables zeroed up again, and we'll come in and set up to do some trial engraving. We'll set up our index at 50. All right, let's get our little division box set up. So I've got my power supply in that drives my electrics. I've got my power supply in that supplies power into my driver, and I've got my communications cable which gives me my step and direction signals out to my stepper. Right, so I'll work around the camera a bit here. So I want to go to divisions. It's going to be 50 even divisions, which will give me a 0.02 increment. 0.02 increment, and every 5th division will make a long one. So every 0.1 will make a long indexing line. So as I said, we can jog on this. We can set degrees in. There's programs you can put in. I can preset up to 5 different programs on this if I've got, for example, different ratios between my rotary table and my dividing head. But fortunately, they're all 40:1, so I keep the same program for the whole show. Divisions, I can set it up for continuous driving if I want to, and then I've got a setup command where I can set up a lot of different other parameters as well. But in this case, we're just going to punch in 2. As I said, we're going to go 50 divisions, so 0, 0, 5, 0. And as I said, you can do 9,999 even divisions on this if you want to. I'll hit go. Now that's all set up ready to go. I can set a speed rate on that so I can get that to run very slow, or at speed 5 I can get it to run a little bit quicker. And you can go increments in between 1, 2, 3, as I said, 4 and up to 5. Alright, let's have a bit of a fiddle around. We'll make a start on this. Now, it was funny, I was watching the video that Stefan Got to Winter just put out, and I'm looking at the knob that he's got in, or that part that he's got in his rotary table. I'm thinking, hello, he's making one himself. But, and he's had to do a very similar setup to get some clearance from his upper face down. Obviously he's got a lot more precision than I have, but we'll do the best with what we've got. But I love watching Stefan's work. He is an absolute craftsman. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with about 0.1 deep. I'll make all these the same length, then I'll change my incrementations to 10, and we'll come back and then we'll cut the longer ones. I just want to see how all that looks across the Well, we've overlapped by about 3 on that, and they're absolutely spot on. Now I've gone a 0.1 of a mil deep. I reckon that'll be ideal. I'm going to reset this now to 10 divisions to cut the long ones now, and we'll see how they look. If everything still lines up. I did have some problems. I had to take this back to the lathe and reface it because the worm drive, I didn't put enough backlash in it, and these stepper drives, not what you call the most torquiest things in the world, so I can't, when this is turning, I can't stop this, but certainly if the worm jams it up, it will start missing steps, and because I don't have any position feedback, you actually end up stuffing up the indexing lines. So I backed that backlash. I put a bit more backlash onto that, just a minute amount, and that's running quite freely now. And as you can see, it's turned out absolutely spot on. So I'm going to do a reprogram to do every 5th one now. So it's going to be 10. So Right, well, apart from my fat fingering there, I was able to realign that again and finish the job off, so it's absolutely spot on. So I'm very happy about that. And that's the issue I had when I can engage the worm, put it on and off. If I engage it too hard and lock it, I don't put enough backlash, it will slightly jam up, give a bit of resistance, and the stepper drive will stall that. So just to unlock it, just back it off a touch and then relock it again, and yeah, it's worked well. So those indexations look perfect. Alright, I'll go ahead and I'll machine up the end on this with a little recess in to fit up into our bronze washer. We'll remount this back up again. I'll make sure that we're reconcentric again, and we'll flip this up at 90 degrees, square it up, and then we'll make a start on doing the lines around the barrel. Alright guys, we'll see you in a tick. Alright guys, we're back again. I've faced this back to 14mm. We've got to cut the recess in for that little washer. Don't drop it. So we're going to go a diameter just a tad over 24 to give it a little bit of clearance, and we're going to go about 1.95 deep. That'll mean that the washer will be sitting slightly proud of that face there. So that's going to become our bearing face. I've already touched off on the internal bore and on the face. Just give that one little skim. Righto, that'll do us. I'll give it a clean up and all set up ready for the indexing. Righto, so we're going to start doing this indexing now. We'll see how we go. You're going to go 4.5 long by 0.1 deep on the short strokes, and then we'll go 7mm long on the 0.1 divisions. Alright, put a bit of go juice on that. Let's hope we have no issues. Alright guys, so that's it for the 0.02 increments. We'll reset this up and reprogram for the 0.1 increments, the longer ones. Okay, that's it. Perfect. Alright, the only thing left to do on this little bloke now is to broach in the keyway. So we'll get set up and we'll get that broached in, and we'll start making the little adapter washer for the far end. Okay, very happy with that. Looks the bee's knees. Alright, we'll just broach this 4mm keyway in. Now broaching, using a broaching key like this seems very simple, but it's so easy to stuff it up, particularly if you kick that cutter one way or the other. You'll end up cutting a huge taper in there, and I'm sure that anyone who's ever done these has certainly done that themselves. Try and stay out of the way. Alright, I've got some shims in behind that. I want to go 13.8 deep on this. And when I say 13.8, I mean from the back of the bore, bottom of the bore, to the top of the keyway. Keys are designed to drive on their sides, not on the top, so we do need to have a little bit of clearance on the top. We'll see what my shim sets give me. That's certainly starting to kick, so I'm just going to turn you guys off for a minute. I'll get this set up and get this keyway cut. Right, one more cut to do. I've just made up a little stainless steel shim. It's 0.1 of a mil thick. Do they? Right. If I do it in this orientation, I can at least see if it's kicking off square. Go juice on. That'll do it. Now get my shim, so see that? That's the keyway. It's a nice finish down inside there. It looks pretty even Steven, so we'll hand fit the key to this and get that, so it's a nice tight fit. Right guys, we'll move on and do the retaining washer next. That's one we've got to get fairly close so that we minimise any backlash between this bushing set. Alright, see you soon.